everybody. Today is Friday, May 1st. We are into May now. We have just a couple weeks left. It's exciting to know that it's finally May because this is the last month of the school year. So we just have a few weeks left. I think I want to say like 2.5 or 3.5 weeks left. We are winding down on this chapter and this school year. So it's kind of exciting. We're going to go ahead and jump into today's lesson. Today, our objective is to solve rational equations and proportions. Now, a rational equation is an equation that contains one or more rational expressions. You can solve a rational equation by first multiplying each side of the equation by the least common denominator. When each side of a rational equation is a single rational expression, you can then solve the equation using the cross products property. Okay, so our first problem here is solving equations with rational expressions. What is the solution of 5 over 12 minus 1 over 2x equals 1 over 3x? Now you might look at this and think, ooh, where do I even start? Because none of these have a common denominator, right? Well, if you go back here, it says first, you're going to multiply each side of the equation by the least common denominator. So we want to look at these three denominators, 12, 2x, and 3x, and figure out what the least common denominator is. Okay, well first, let's ignore the x's for now. Let's look at the coefficients. We've got 12, 2, and 3. What number do each of those three numbers multiply into? Well, they all multiply into, have a multiple of 12, right? So 12 times 1 is 12, 2 times 6 is 12, 3 times 4 is 12. Okay? Now let's look at the x's. What's the lowest possible value for x that we could use? Well, just x, right? We wouldn't use x squared because none of the denominators have an x squared in them, right? So we're just going to use 12x. Okay? Now that we found the LCD, it says multiply each side of the equation by the LCD. So I'm going to take 12x times the left side and the right side. So I'm going to take 12x times 5 over 12 minus 12x times 1 over 2x equals 12x times 1 over 3x. So both sides are getting multiplied by 12x. Okay? Now, on this first one, these 12s can cancel out, so now it's just x times 5, so I get 5x. Okay, in the second one, I've got 12 divided by 2 is 6 over 1, and then the x's cancel out. So I've got 6 times 1 over 1, which is a negative 6 here. And then that's equal to 12x times 1 over 3x. The 12 and 3 cancel to 4 over 1. And then our x's cancel out. So I've got 4 times 1 over 1, which is 4. Okay. Now this is just a simple two-step equation to solve. We add 6 on both sides. We get 5x equals 10. And then we can divide by 5 to get x equals 2. 2 is our solution. It does say check our solution. We can plug 2 back into the equation. So it's basically 1 over 4. This is 1 over 6. Okay, 5 over 12 minus 1 over 4. 1 over 4 we can change to 3/4. So 5 minus 3 is 2. 2 over 12 is 1 over 6. So 1 over 6 equals 1 over 6. We're good. Okay, so our solution here is x equals 2. All right, I want you to go ahead and see if you can solve both of these then on your own. Multiply both sides of the equation by the least common denominator. Okay, pause the video and see if you can solve these. All right, so if we look at part A, our least common denominator of 3x and x is going to be 3x. All right, so we're going to multiply 3x times both sides. So 3x times 1/3, 3x times 3 over x, and then equals 3x times 2 over x. Okay? When we do this, the 3 and 3 cancel out to 1 over 1, and then it's just x times 1, so it's going to be x. And here, our x's cancel out. So we get 3 times 3, which is a positive 9. And then here our x's cancel out. So we get 3 times 2 is 6. Now we're going to divide, or we're going to subtract 9 on both sides, and we get x equals negative 3. Okay. So when we plug this back in to check, we're going to do negative 3 here and negative 3 here. Now we need to multiply this, so this is basically equivalent to negative 1 over negative 3, right? So negative 1 plus 3 is 2. 2 over negative 3 does equal 2 over negative 3. Okay, so our solution then is x equals negative 3. Over here we've got 7x, 3, and 3x. The least common multiple of 7 and 3 is 21. And then we're going to do 21x. Okay, so 21x times 4 over 7x plus 21x times 1/3 equals 21x times 7 over 3x. Okay, 21 over 7 reduces to 3 over 1, and then I've got x divided by x, those cancel out, so I've got 3 times 4 is 12. Next, the 21 and 3 cancel to 7 over 1, so I've got 7x times 1 over 1, which is a positive 7x. And then that's equal to our 21 and 3 cancel to 7 over 1, and then our x's will cancel out, so 7 times 7 is 49. Now we'll subtract 12. 7x equals, this is 37. Am I doing this right? I think so. Yep. Okay. And then we'll divide by 7. And then x then will equal 37 over 7. Okay. Hopefully I did that right and I didn't make a mistake on that. Okay. All right. Problem 2. Solving by factoring. Okay. My favorite thing to do, factoring. Yours probably also. To solve some rational equations, you need to factor a quadratic expression. So it says, what are the solutions of 1 minus 1 over x equals 12 over x squared? So again, we're going to multiply both sides by the least common multiple of the denominators. I'm going to change the 1 to 1 over 1. Our least common multiple is just going to be x squared, right? So we're going to do x squared times 1 over 1 minus x squared times 1 over x equals x squared times 12 over x squared. Okay? 12x squared times 1 over 1 is just x squared. Here, one of these x's will cancel out, so I just have x over 1. So this is just going to be x. And then that's equal to, here our x squareds cancel out, so I get 12. Now to solve this, this is now a quadratic expression because I've got x squared. Now I need to factor, so I'm going to subtract 12 on both sides to get it all on the same side. So it's going to be x squared minus x minus 12 equals 0, and now I can factor. So we want factors of negative 12 that add to negative 1. So our factors are going to be x minus 4 times x plus 3, right? Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1 for negative 1x. Okay, so then x then is equal to 4 and negative 3. Okay. You can then check to make sure that both of these are correct. So if we plug 4 in, 1 minus 1/4 is 3/4. 12 divided by x squared, so 4 squared is 16. 12 over 14 or over 16 reduces to 3/4 as well, so that works. Do the same thing for negative 3. So 1 minus negative 3 is actually going to be 4/3. And then negative 3 squared is 9. 12 over 9 reduces to 4/3 as well, so that is correct. Okay, so our answer here is C, negative 3 and 4. All right, number 2, go ahead and see if you can find the solutions to both of these parts pause the video and see how you do. All right, so for part A, we're going to change this to 6 over 1. Our least common denominator is y squared. We'll do y squared times 5 over y equals y squared times 6 over y squared minus y squared times 6 over 1. All right, so here, y squared over y, one of these y's on top is going to cancel, so it's going to be y over 1. So this is going to be 5y equals, here my y squareds cancel out, so it's going to be 6 minus y squared times 6, which is 6y squared. I'm going to put this in standard form first. So what I want a positive y squared value. Okay, so I'm going to actually add 6 to both sides, so it's going to be 6y squared plus 5y, and then I'll subtract 6 equals 0. Okay, I always like my y squared value to be positive. Now I need to factor this, so I need to do negative 6 times 6 is negative 36. So I need factors of negative 36 that add to positive 5. Okay, so we can think, okay, so 9 and, so positive 9 and negative 4. Yep, that works, right? So I'm going to now split this up to 6. Oh, that's too big. Let me erase that. So it's going to be 6y squared plus 9y minus 4y minus 6 equals 0. Now I'll group together these first two and group together these last two. Okay, the first one I can pull out a 3y, and I'm left with 2y plus 3. In the second group I can pull out a negative 2, and I'm left with 2y plus 3 equals 0. Okay, so then our factors then are 3y minus 2 times the 2y plus 3 equals 0, which gives us solutions of y equals, let's see, this is going to be 2 over 3 and negative 3 over 2. So that's our answers for part A. Okay. Next, let's do part B. Okay. Here, kind of different because we need to multiply both sides of the equation by, so this is d over 1, this is 6 over 1. We're going to multiply both sides of the equation by d plus 3. Okay. So d plus 3 times d gives us d squared plus 3d. D plus, so that's that. D plus 3 times that gives us a positive 6d plus 18 equals, now we multiply d plus 3 on this side, it basically just cancels out the bottom, so we get d plus 11. All right, now let's combine like terms. So we've got d squared, so we've got 3d, 6d. This d we're going to subtract d over here to bring it over here, so subtract d on both sides. So we've got 9d minus d is 8d. And then we're going to subtract 11 on both sides as well, so minus 11, this is going to leave us with a positive 7 equals 0. Okay, so we want factors of 7 that add up to 8. We know that that should be just d plus 7 times d plus 1 equals 0, which means our solutions are d equals negative 7 and negative 1. Okay? All right. So, hopefully you guys did okay with those two problems for today. There's no assignment for today. If you guys have any questions over what we did today, feel free to ask I do have another live Q&A for algebra today at 1 o'clock, 1 to 2 p.m. If you guys have any questions over today's lesson, or maybe an assignment from earlier this week that you have questions on, feel free to come by. You can ask a question or two. You can stay for 1 minute, 2 minutes, half an hour. You can stay for the whole time if you want. Or if you just want to come and say hi, you can do that also. I do miss you guys, so feel free to say hi if you want, or not, whichever one you want. It's completely optional. I'm doing this to help you guys out if you need. Also, we just have, I think, next week we are going to be finishing up Chapter 11, and the week after that, I think we are going to be taking the Chapter 11 test. There will be a reward in store for those of you that do not have any missing assignments, so assignments, tests, or quizzes that are missing. By the time we take this test, there will be a reward, and it will help your grade quite a bit, I think. Okay, so make sure you're getting all missing work turned in. If you have any incompletes in Harmony, you need to email me and figure out what's going on with those, okay? Because we got to get those missing work turned in and done. All right, so I'll let you guys know at some point, either next week or the week after, what that reward will be. I already know what it is, but I'm not going to announce it just yet. Okay, but I'll let you guys know next week what that is. All right, so I hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you guys on Monday, or hopefully maybe 1 o'clock today for the Q&A on Canvas. Okay, see you guys.